way Yeshua was treated when he was on this earth is just proof that we as Israelites are in his bloodline. In Mark chapter 15, verse 9 through 14, we see that Jesus, Yeshua, was treated like dirt only because he came here to have people act righteously. He came here to save lives. He came here to heal the sick. Everything he did was righteous. But of course, you have these envious and jealous people that want to shine all the time. They don't want anybody else to shine. And Jesus was taking away all of their shine. Oh, they could not have that. You see in Mark 15, starting with verse 9, this is where the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all of their minions wanted Yeshua to be crucified. So this is Pontius Pilate. Do you want me to release to you the King of the Jews? Asked Pilate, knowing it was out of self-interest that the chief priests had handed Jesus over to him. Now this is a nice way of saying it. This is the New International Version. And it says, but the chief priests stirred up the crowd to have Pilate release Barabbas instead. And Barabbas was a murderous criminal. They'd rather have a murderous criminal released than Jesus, Yeshua. So Pilate said, what shall I do then with the one you call the King of the Jews? Pilate asked them. And they said, crucify him. And they shouted it. Why? What crime has he committed? Asked Pilate. But they shouted out louder, crucify him. This is what envy and jealousy causes. And the reason I say this is how you know we are in the bloodline of Yeshua. Our ancestors, their land was stolen. They were put into slavery. They were beaten. Everything. All they were trying to do is live peacefully and have their own stuff. But no. Here comes the enemy. Here comes what is going on right now. You see what's going on in Texas. All people are trying to do is help one another. Help the sick, the elderly, the poor, the children. Just like Yeshua, Jesus, wants. But no, this is how you know this is the devil working. Let's go back, for instance, to what happened to our ancestors. There's a significant and deeply painful history of the destruction of black towns and communities in the United States. These acts of destruction were often fueled by racial hatred and the desire to suppress black economic and social progress. Every time we try to have something, what happened? The pale folk would destroy it. And I'm not just talking about all pale folk. I'm talking about the evil pale folk whose God, whose father is Satan. They can't stand to see people of color, the Israelites, prosper in any manner, even if we're minding our own business. You got the Tulsa, Oklahoma. A white mob attacked and destroyed the prosperous black community of Greenwood, also known as Black Wall Street, leaving hundreds dead and 10,000 people homeless because of a lie. Because of a lie. They made up a lie about a woman being assaulted so that they can steal, kill, and destroy an entire prosperous black Israelite town. Rosewood, Florida, a white mob fueled by a false accusation. Same thing, decimated the town of Rosewood, burning buildings and killing black residents. It's always a lie. They always make up a lie and then they come in and destroy everything. Envy and jealousy. This is Satan, period. They have Elaine, Arkansas. Atlanta, Georgia, East St. Louis, Illinois, Memphis, Tennessee, on and on and on. They had the Black Bottom in Detroit, Michigan. It's so many. Every time we thrive and have something, they come in and destroy it. Why is that? In John chapter 8, verse 44, Yeshua tells you why. He says, "For you are the children of your father, the devil, and you love to do the evil things he does. He was a murderer from the beginning. He has always hated the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, it is consistent with his character, for he is a liar and the father of lies." So everything that we see that's happening opposite of what the Bible talks about, of what Yeshua taught when he was here, of what his apostles and the disciples taught when they were here. Everything that's going on, which is the opposite, and then these so-called folk calling themselves so-called Christian, but they do just the opposite of what Yeshua does, of what Yeshua requires us to do. All of these people, every time you see this stuff going on, look at what's going on in Texas right now. They're holding that woman hostage. All of this stuff is because their father is the devil, Satan, Beelzebub, Baal, Belial, whatever name you want to call him, Mostem. Their father is the father of lies, the master of lies. And that's why all of our people are being treated the way they have been being treated. Now they want to sit up here and talk about creating their own community, whites only community in Arkansas, Oklahoma, I believe. But they won't be able to survive without Israelite inventions, without black inventions. Mostly everything that we have in this country was influenced by an Israelite. They strive off of the things we invent. They survive off of the things we come up with, our creations. If it wasn't for us, they would not be able to endure. Now, going back to what happened to our ancestors, our fellow Israelite brothers and sisters, everybody who is a believer, a follower of Yeshua, all the things that has happened to us, the persecution that has happened to us, all of the massacres, the destruction of our towns, the killing of our people. Going back to Mark 15, verse 9 through 14 in the New Living Translation. Now, this one I like because it says, Pilate is talking about, he was talking to those Pharisees and Sadducees and their minions again. He said, "Would you like me to release to you this king of the Jews?" Pilate asked them. And in parentheses it says, "For he realized by now that the leading priest had arrested Yeshua out of envy." They were envious because they were not getting recognized anymore. They were losing their following. They were losing their authority, their power. And this is how Satan works. When he realizes he's losing his authority and his power, his pride kicks in. His enviousness kicks in. His jealousy kicks in. And he comes to destroy. And that was what's going on with Yeshua. Those false people were realizing that they were losing their power. Those Pharisees, those false people. And the Sadducees, they knew better. Sadducees were from Levi. They were our own folk and going against their brethren. It says, "But at this point, the leading priest stirred up the crowd and demanded the release of the murderer Barabbas instead of Yeshua, because they'd rather have a killer out on the streets than somebody who's for righteousness, because they didn't want to lose their power authority." The same thing holds true till this day. They'd rather have a wicked abuser, murderer, cheater, prideful, narcissistic person who is more concerned about lacing him and his buddies' pockets than he is about caring for the people of the country. They'd rather have somebody like that in power because they are the children of the Beliar. Pilate asked them, "Then what should I do with this man you call the King of the Jews?" He knew that they were wrong for what they were doing. He knew that they were doing this for their own benefit, but he still let it happen. They shouted, "Crucify him!" "Why?" Pilate demanded. "What crime has he committed?" But the mob roared even louder, "Crucify him!" All of the true followers of Yeshua, all of his chosen people, all of the Israelites, you have to realize you got to keep your eyes on him, because Satan is busy right now. He's deceptive and he's slick, doing stuff because of his envy, his jealousy, his pride, and he's ready to take over because he knows his time is limited and it's about to be done with. Keep your eyes on Yeshua.